Hello guys, and it won't be an exaggeration to say that lately we do have a lot of Russian failures to discuss, both on the front lines and inside Russia in their economy, business. So sometimes I do get a feeling that you are already a bit bored with new explosions on Russian oil refineries, military facilities, cancelled flights, problems with money withdrawals. That's the new reality of Russia. The choice they made when decided to start the full-scale war against Ukraine. But today I have some interesting and important and unusual updates. We may say that more than 1,000 of Russian soldiers right now are encircled in Transnistria. That is a part of Moldova occupied by Russia after the collapse of the USSR, and now both countries, Ukraine and Moldova, decided to close checkpoints because of constant Russian shellings on Odessa, located nearby, and these thousands of Russian soldiers on the territory where they should not be now have no access to anything they need. It's beautiful, and it demonstrates that more and more countries unite together with Ukraine in the mission to implement the only working peace plan, and that's to defeat and demilitarize Russia. And another step was taken in this important demilitarization process because the Ukrainian missiles, Ukrainian homemade missiles, for the usage of which we do not need to ask anyone's permission, destroyed a huge drone production facility in Taganrog. And this is worth your thumbs up and sharing, because such news give more optimism, determination, and most importantly, finally destroy these Moscow-centered narratives that dominated the world and made many people believe that Russia's army was second strongest in the world. But now all of their weaknesses are exposed, and believe me, lasting peace is only possible after justice is served to all the Russian war criminals. I know what I'm saying. My name is Anna. I'm from Ukraine. I'm in Ukraine. Join our community to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine, and let's begin with this very unusual and very optimistic update from Transnistria. I have to use this term even though that is a legitimate part of Moldova. Another important reminder that Soviet Union, later the Kremlin, did everything to, encode conflict and problems in the borders and in the military territories where some of their troops were located, and then decided not to leave. Transnistria is a big problem for Moldova because that is a Moldovan territory literally occupied by Moscow, and life there is bad just as everywhere where Russia temporarily tries to rule, like in Donetsk, Luhansk, and so on. And the presence of the Russian soldiers there is a danger both to Ukrainian territories that border with Transnistria and to Moldova. And what's interesting, for a very long period of time, people were, anxious to take any steps. And finally, the decision was made. And both countries, Ukraine and Moldova, decided to officially close all the checkpoints that lead to this Transnistria. And now 1,500 at least Russian soldiers have no access to logistics at all, and this leads to a very big problem for them because, trust me, nobody likes them there. That is a response to Russia's constant shellings of Odessa. Potentially, Russian troops in Transnistria could threaten Ukraine once again because it's all very close to Odessa. So I believe that this decisive and timely step is the best demonstration of solidarity with Ukraine, and the fact that one beautiful day Ukraine and Moldova will both join the European Union and Russia will be defeated, and maybe many new republics will be born that will demonstrate more interest in democracy. Another very important victory took place in Taganrog, not only because we destroyed the huge facility for the production of Russian drones, They were working on Molnia and Orion drones on the facility known as ATLANT AERO. So first of all, a lot of drones destroyed, and not just drones, but a possibility to make them, which means it's an investment in safety and security and a lot of innocent lives saved, which is our top priority. But it is also a demonstration of the work of the Ukrainian missiles, because the Ukrainian armed forces confirmed that to demilitarize this evil site, we were using our own homemade Ukrainian missiles. It was also allowed on various military sites located on the temporarily occupied territories of Zaporizhia, Donetsk. Tons of videos that prove it, and from the reports we get, from the images we find online, these were various missile systems that Russians used to target some frontline cities and villages. So what best demonstrates Ukraine's attitude is the choice of targets. Military facilities, missile systems, Russia's drone production sites, and many more things. And of course, their oil industry infrastructure, because that is what fuels Russia's wartime budget. But thank God, together with the Ukrainian drone sanctions, with Putin's economic mismanagement, what we see is this constant bankruptcy of one business after another, one industry after another, and recently the whole Russian region, Saratov, announced its default, and thumbs up for that. Also, I invite you to check a new video on Anna Danilchuk channel, where we discuss fear, anxiety, dissatisfaction of the Russian vloggers, a new series, because Putin keeps providing them with reasons, beginning with problems of Russians in Kupiansk. Many of you remember that Putin kept talking about this city for months, constantly telling about full control of the Russian army. And now, after President took a photo there, President of Ukraine, we see Ukrainian flags in Kupiansk, and that myth was destroyed. But there are other problems that vloggers in Russia fear, beginning with the seizure of Russian ships and finishing with the seizure of Russian oil assets, Lukoil assets in Iraq. Do subscribe to that channel, check the video, I connected here. And remember to follow me on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord, all the links in the description of this video. Also, as a Ukrainian, I have to say that I stand firmly with the people of Iran, and I hope they will be free from this authoritarian regime that spoiled their lives for so long. And I do hope that the global community will hear and see these people, just as we need it in Ukraine, you need it in Iran, and hopefully less Iranian drones then will reach Ukrainian cities too. That is a truly, I cannot say even mutually, but universally beneficial thing to fight and defend the truth and democracy in every part of this world. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channels. Thank you for checking our merch. Lots of good items that can turn you into the ambassadors of Ukraine. But most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!